Treksploration.
Hello and welcome back to Treksploration. I'm Albie.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're talking about To the Journey. Looking back at Star Trek Voyager. It's a documentary.
A document. Cool. We've become fancy pants here. Such a documentary crew we got going on.
We're getting edumacations. I wonder if this is up for an Oscar. Was it released in a film theater one time? Somewhere? Maybe?
I was going to ask you about that. So
I don't know.
So here's the thing. I mean, for the journey, Albie, is this? You were doing some research. Is this the most crowdfunded documentary?
The most crowdfunded documentary in the history of Earth.
In the history of mankind.
Mankind. Yeah, the reptilians or the Anunnaki might have had different documentaries going on, but
and that includes the Santa Claus documentary hosted by mankind.
Nick Foley, he loves Christmas. I'm the same way. My Christmas tree's still up there, but I don't dress like Santa. Although about 10 minutes ago, well, an hour ago, I look like Santa a little bit, but I cleaned up for you. I cleaned up for you.
I was thinking up as best I could.
I was putting cologne on after my shower and my shave and stuff. And I'm like, oh, why am I doing this for Chris? He doesn't care.
Your pillow will smell nice in the morning, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's,
So we're not doing a full episode tonight. We're not doing all the things we normally do, like our Trek and Tells, I don't think.
Yeah.
But and our trivia and all that stuff. But we're just gonna quickly and funnily, that's not a word.
Funnily,
talk about this documentary. And I used to know so much about it. I was so into it. I was so excited for it. And then I just was on Facebook the other night, probably a few days ago, even when I messaged you, I was like, it's out. Because people were like, oh, I just watched it. I'm like, where is it? Turns out the link was in my spam folder.
Oh, really?
The crowdfunding thing sent me. Yeah. So, and I signed up for multiple crowdfunding things. So I got all the emails. They just all went to spam, but finally got it worked out and I was able to watch it. Did you get your link? Were you able to watch it?
I was able to watch it. Yes. So I appreciate that.
Yes. I know you were a little bit more of a latecomer than me, but these are the people that put out What We Left Behind, right? The DS9 doc.
I'm not really sure. Is it the same production studio, but it's certainly not the same feel for the documentary.
It is a different feel. I'll give you that. Well, should we go into our first impressions right away? I think so, maybe. Yeah. Chris, what were your first impressions of the world's most crowdfunding, most crowdfunded documentary?
My first impressions, not being a huge Voyager fan, I went into this mainly so that we could review it for the show. I don't know. Yeah. I probably would have watched it at some time. Yeah. It was perfectly okay.
It was perfectly okay.
Yes. That's my first impression. It was long and not overly long, but for everything that I found interesting about it, I also had questions as to why they were doing stuff equally. So that's really not very helpful. But as we get into it, I think that you'll understand what I mean. There are some questionable choices here for all the good that we're presented with. How about you? Because you had so much invested in this, literally, like mentally and monetarily.
Monetarily, I think I'm $300 and something into this thing, and I think I was coming off the high of Deep Space Nine documentary, What We Left Behind, and this is brought to you by those people. I don't know if they're producers, directors, writers, or whatever it is. But there's some people I recognize behind it, and I was and the people who did Spock, the Spock documentary, and I think that even got like a mention
for the love of Spock,
and like posters in Big Bang Theory and stuff like that. So, right? I think so.
I don't
even I think one of the episodes of Big Bang Theory, they're actually interviewing Sheldon in storyline on the show for it, but. So I was hyped up, and I from the Deep Space Nine one, and I was like, oh, I wish they had a Voyager one coming out because I love the Deep Space Nine one. I mean, as documentaries go, that was great. And Next Gen had great documentaries on the Blu-rays, like a lot of documentaries, because they didn't have to have it all down to like under 2 hours. That because it's spread multiple parts, multiple discs. But if you watch the whole Blu-ray series and all the special features, it's just amazing work. Amazing documentary work. So when I heard they were going to launch Voyager, I was like, that Fry gif, I was like, take my money, shut up and take my money. And so they took a lot of my money. And then then I was like, you know what? I got my name in the credits. Oh, Rennie's watching Voyager now because she got into Voyager, as you know. And I was like, that'd be a cool gift to get for her. Just, have her name in the credits of the Voyager documentary for all times. So I was like, okay, I'll do it again. I'll sign up again. And then there was like a deal with like, you get everything also that I just already got twice, but you get a coin. And I was like, oh, Rennie collects coins and she likes Voyager. So there goes three memberships or whatever.
But was that like a challenge coin?
I'm not sure. I think it had the Voyager on it. I'm not sure. She got it in the mail, I think. I know we got refrigerator magnets and postcards, and that was like 2 or 3 years ago. I don't even know anymore. I had to email them. I was like, I changed addresses. So make sure the Blu-rays go to the right house. And then I was like, I emailed them back a few years later. And I was like, okay, this is who I'm leaving my Blu-rays to when you finally release the documentary. So I bequeath them to Rennie if they don't come before my time.
So, but you're still waiting on the physical media.
Yes. We just got the screener links. That's what the emails were.
Understood. Okay.
So it's been a long time. And I was always that, I guess a-hole for lack of a better thing. Whenever they would do an update every few months, I would do in the comments. I would have been the lady from Titanic that says it's been 84 years.
I had some questions about
2001.
Yeah. Well,
pandemic.
Yeah, there was
but
pandemic.
People edit at home now. People edit at home.
It was 2001 that this.
Yeah, space out. No, 2021.
Yeah, I was going to say what 2001.
I don't know when I am. I jump around in time.
In 2001.
It was a long time. So yeah, I'm wrong. So I didn't wait 25 years, 24 years. I waited 4 years, but it seems like 24 years.
Well, you're a very anxious lad. I have to say, the event feeling of the What We Left Behind documentary is really what got me about that. Being a huge DS9 fan, just the opportunity to see something that was new and Star Trek in the theater was an amazing opportunity. It was something I hadn't been able to do in years at that point. And to have something finally acknowledging and celebrating DS9, it just filled me up as a fan, because that at that point especially was where I lived. I really hadn't discovered Enterprise yet, or maybe I was in the middle of it. I'm trying to when did What We Left Behind come out?
Wow.
Before COVID.
I did the unboxing. If you you have a tab open somewhere, go to totlb.com.
It's pre-COVID. So
yeah.
Definitely. So at that point I hadn't watched all of Enterprise yet. I didn't, fall head first and head over heels with Enterprise yet. So DS9 was my Trek. So
yeah,
seeing what We Left Behind in the theater was a special thrill. And I've seen it since, because it's on some streaming services and stuff. And that documentary, as much as I loved it in the theater and as much as I still love it, it is very self-indulgent. They've got a lot of like wacky stuff in there. And for all that, I think it works. It's a much more, I don't know. I want to say weird, but not really weird. An eclectic approach to a documentary. They do a lot of different types of things, but that is kind of DS9.
Yeah.
So knowing that it was the same production company, did you think that you were going to get a similar flavor?
Yes. And I have to say, one of my favorite parts of What We Left Behind was the writer's room. And I was hoping they would do something like that for Voyager. Because, I want, season 8, Tuvix comes back and he's mad and he's blowing people away,
Tuvix with a shotgun.
Yeah. And this is what I'll say. I enjoyed it. It was wonderful. It was lovely. It told the story of Voyager. But I was left with the feeling of there's no there. And I want to be generous and kind and honest to the filmmakers, because I know they put a lot of work in. I think they said like 40, 60 hours of footage they filmed. Maybe they picked a lot of the wrong parts, but you know how documentaries, it's usually made in the editing room. Like they find the story and they build the story, and then there's a hurdle, and then it's then it's all great, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of times it's artificial, but that's what going into it I expect that feeling, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like we filmed a TV show. Jennifer Lean didn't work out so good. We got Jerry Ryan. She's really hot. We finished filming the TV show, and then they started tearing down the sets, and that's the whole story. So
it goes a little.
So here's my dilemma. Okay, as somebody who like critiques things for a living, do I give them credit for not artificially introducing some kind of story that's not really genuine to the experience of what happened? Or do I give them credit for documenting what happened and that really they just filmed a TV show? Kate Mulgrew gave up knowing her kids for those 7 years.
Yeah.
And Jerry Ryan and Kate Mulgrew didn't get along. And then they added other stuff in there to fill it up, which I didn't understand the filler stuff because they said they had so much interview material to pick through.
That was my chief criticism, if I have any. There was a lot of, when I said questionable choices, you could really tell that it was just like filler. Like, what is going on here? Why is this 2 hours? Why are they? And we can get into the different aspects of that, but I think the fundamental difference between this and What We Left Behind is, I feel like What We Left Behind, when it wasn't just being slavishly, celebratory of DS9, it was really like sort of a deep dive into the decision-making process and why they did what they did and how the show came together and some of the hard choices that they had to make it stand out. It wasn't really Star Trek, so it out of the gate it had some problems being accepted, the whole journey of that. And I feel like this is just the celebration part. This is just a straight on celebration of Voyager. They take you behind the scenes for quite a bit, and some of the stuff that has always been somewhat general knowledge, but I
General
felt
knowledge.
major. I'm sorry. General disarray. As someone who's a casual Voyager fan who's barely seen any of it, I enjoyed getting sort of that rundown from inception to completion. And yes, did it kind of veer into self-aggrandizement? Yes. But I think that's to be expected because who's watching this besides the Voyager fans?
Yeah.
And they want to feel in this documentary what they feel about their show. So I don't know that I fault it for that. It does point out a lot of the firsts that Voyager was able to accomplish in the franchise. And it does give you a very succinct look at every one of the characters, maybe not so deep. So as a casual fan, it kept my attention. And there were things that I learned that I hadn't known. That being said,
Spoilers ahead.
Yeah, that spoilers ahead.
Spoilers for Voyager?
Yeah.
But we spoil every Star Trek.
For you, who liked Voyager the way I like DS9,
right?
This is just like something you'd see like 50 years of Star Trek on the History Channel.
Yes.
And it was just like, it's the same documentary with frickin' Roddenberry looking off into the distance and Lucille Ball saved the show.
The black and white photo holding up the model.
Yeah. And it's just like, I can't imagine there was much new here for Voyager fans.
No. Garrett Wong floating around in the vomit comet, maybe.
That was where I first said, huh.
Like I don't mind it. That would have been a cool 2 minutes in the doc, right?
Right.
But it was like the B story. That was the B story. I want to say
that to me smacked. Okay.
Was that the framing?
We got some filler. Is this a first? Yeah. Why do we have Garrett going up?
Love him.
Comet.
Love him. I'm a subscriber to what is it?
Delta Flyers.
Delta Flyers. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get all their premium stuff. So
for those of you who haven't seen it, the documentary does start pretty basic with, I think, the 20-year celebration, 25th anniversary cruise, right? That's the only time that they were able to get together. It was right before the world shut down.
Yeah, right before. Because everybody that came back was having the cruise crud.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize that. Wow. See, they didn't go into that. Why didn't they go into that?
I might be wrong.
We all got sick on the boat.
and then the world shut down. It was the Star Trek crew's fault.
Right. And yeah, so I mean, it was good. It was a good beginning because it gets everybody together. And then it goes into sort of the background of getting Michael Piller and Jerry Taylor together with Brandon Braga to create this thing and to make it different, to make the first female captain, which they go to, spare no expense, spare no verbiage in saying what a breakthrough that was for Star Trek and for TV at the time and blah, blah, blah. And it seems common now, but it was such a risk back then. And what I really enjoyed, and maybe it's the Back to the Future fan in me coming through. I mean, Great Scott. I love seeing the stuff with Eric Stoltz. I just love seeing it. So I always knew that Geneviève Bujold was cast as Janeway first.
Right.
I've only ever seen like maybe 2 scenes online, and you can tell that she is just purposely acting poorly.
Yeah.
Because she wanted out.
Yeah, she was doing the whole what is that? Kidnapper video, terrorist video, where you're disavowing who you are and where you come from, and no, there's no guns pointed at me at all, that kind of thing.
But I have to say, I've never been the hugest fan of Mulgrew. I am much more of a fan of her now. Janeway always rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, period. And I've said this before.
We're opposite on that.
We're talking about Prodigy. Her voice drives me up a wall.
Me, I want her to tell me what to do.
Yeah. So, you're a little bit afraid and you kind of like it, right?
Yeah.
But I think that seeing, first of all, me mellowing towards Voyager and Mulgrew over the last couple of decades has helped me, because I think a lot of that was a Chris problem. It was just what I expected from the franchise at the time, as opposed to what they were presenting. The other thing I didn't like about Voyager, they get into this a little bit here when they talk about the whole Ron Moore falling.
Ronald D. Moore, because they had Ronald D. Moore and Ronald B. Moore.
Yeah, Ronald B. Moore. He be more on the show than Ronald D. Moore.
Yeah, they had 2 minutes of Ronald B. Moore. So, and I kind of popped for Ronald B. Moore because you don't see him much, because you only hear about Ronald D. Moore.
So take that, Ronald D. Moore.
OG Reed Moore.
But I mean, that being said, seeing much more footage of Geneviève Bujold was eye-opening to me, because I don't know that I would say that Mulgrew was born to play Janeway, or that it could only be her. It's just that we know her and people love her in the part, so she made it her own. I think another actress could have done it. I do not think that Geneviève Bujold, even if she wanted to, could have done it, because they had more scenes of her acting, and I think she was really trying in quite a few of these scenes, and it still just did not work. So that was an interesting wrinkle to see. Like, to me, that is a much more interesting, this is some of the stuff that we had to work through, and this was the process of working through that, and here it is. You can actually document it instead of everybody slapping each other on the back during a cruise panel. So like I'm saying, there's stuff for me of value here. You knew about Geneviève Bujold. Had you seen this much extensive screen testing?
There was nothing that I saw that would surprise me, or I was like, that I can recall, because I think it's all on the DVD sets. Like
even the lost footage.
Was there lost footage? Well, yeah, of Jean. I can't even pronounce her name. Geneviève. La Poupou. One thing about that whole part that was cool for Rennie to see, because she hasn't watched the DVDs. She's got the Columbia House VHSs, and of course we got the streaming, but she hasn't sat down and watched the DVD special features yet. So she was very intrigued to see that, and she says it's so weird to see a different Janeway, Yeah. And the other part that was weird for her was when they were looking at Stage 9, where the Voyager bridge was, and we were trying to figure out how the whole universe of Star Trek Voyager fit in that building. Yeah,
right. But it did.
Yeah, but I'm in denial, because it's still real to me. Damn it. But one shot of Bejeweled. How do you say her name? I can't never. Geneviève.
Just call her Jen.
Jen?
Just call her Jen.
Okay. The one shot of her from Dead Ringers in the clip, I was like, oh, I got to watch Dead Ringers. I'm interested in that.
Yeah, I think I was watching that part of it at work today. Shh, don't tell my boss. But that's why we're able to do this tonight, because I'm sort of boss, but yeah. I still answer to people. No, it was just fortunate enough. It turned out to be quite a slow afternoon, and I usually am swamped. But I said, hey, let me take advantage of this because I was all completely caught up on everything I had to do from this week, and I was just like, I literally have free time right now, which I almost never do. I said, let me watch this because I really want to talk to Albie about it.
Yeah.
And that part of it with that's what I was watching at the office today. And yeah, it was fascinating. I must have taken my eyes off the screen when they were showing clips of her movie
It's worth a
career.
rewatch for that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
I've seen her and stuff though, and that's
Yeah.
what really surprised me when I first knew about this, because just like they were saying, they really thought that they had a coup. Like we have this world famous film actress that's going to be the anchor
Right.
for this new series, blazing this trail in the Trek franchise. And when I heard that it was Geneviève Bujold, like it's like, how could she do anything but nail it? It's her.
Right.
And then I saw this today, and it was just like, oh wow, yeah, it was rough.
She seemed like a really good actor. But back then, I think there was such a difference in film and television. And I think they said it instead of like 6 days to film a page, it's 6 pages a day or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if it was a Star Trek film, she probably would have been amazing. But just 26 episodes a year, and that grind, I don't think it linked up with her method.
That's kind of what they pointed at.
Yeah,
that's another thing that I don't know if it annoyed me about the documentary, but I found it a little bit unnecessary. That even when they were talking about things that were a problem on set, that were clearly a problem, that you could have maybe just said, hey, let's just get this out.
Mm-hmm.
They talked around it, and at the end of the day, they were always forgiving or friendly. I don't want to say like I want them to fuck each other. Mm-hmm. It's not about that, but it's just like everything was put in the most politic way possible, so that if Geneviève Bujold happened to be watching this,
mm-hmm.
it wouldn't hurt her feelings. That kind of thing.
I got the feeling like she didn't want to be there, and they didn't want her there, but they were like in a situation.
Yeah, I mean, they were shooting the $1 million plus, millions of dollar pilot to launch a new freaking network.
Yeah,
and here we have the linchpin of this entire operation completely failing.
And it turns out she's a low talker, so that's no good.
Yeah, it's a little too low. I mean, but then they went the complete opposite direction with Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to say, for Kate Mulgrew getting that late thing, and, them filming the episode behind her before she got in there, and she just had 3 days to get in there and be Janeway, she nailed it.
Completely. And that's why I said, I mean, Kate was obviously the right person for the role,
mm-hmm.
Or a right person for the role. Mm-hmm. And she's an asset to the franchise.
Yes.
I'm glad that she's part of the Star Trek family.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I like her more watching this documentary because I like Kate more than I like Janeway. So hearing, and this is one of the great strengths, I mean, and it, probably nothing new to people who have watched a lot of this stuff over the years and really know Voyager, really know Kate in the way, her patter. It's like listening to Shatner do his one-man show. Mm-hmm. If you've been a Shatner fan for 30, 40 years, you've seen all of this stuff talked about at cons. He just rejiggered it to put it on Broadway.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a little bit of, this is a little bit of that. I don't know.
All the captains can have my money.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But hearing the way that Kate decided to approach the character, and mm-hmm. really the thought that she gave to Janeway, and some of the nuance that she felt she had to infuse that maybe wasn't on the page. I mean, she realized that she needed to manipulate the men watching to accept her, and she had various techniques for doing that. I think the first one she said was empathy, like show a little bit of vulnerability, so that she explains it in the documentary. I highly recommend. I can't do justice to what she said.
Mm-hmm. It worked on me. Those moments of vulnerability that she had, especially the ones in private, where she was very stoic in front of the crew, but then those moments by herself, they really affected me, and I think that made me love the character more.
Yeah, and I just love the fact that when they bring Kate into the documentary, it's as sweeping and melodramatic as Janeway herself.
Mhm.
Like it's a real grand entrance for her. So if you're a Mulgrew fan and a Janeway fan, you'll find a lot to like here. Again, even if it's just a celebration and an affirmation
Mhm.
of what you love about the character and the actor.
Now, I don't know why it took 4 years. And part of me is wondering, is it because they couldn't really find the story in it?
I think that might be part of it because this is where it starts to fall apart. Once we get all of that stuff about Genevieve, which to me is very interesting,
Very.
how Kate got the role, um, talking about just the high stakes of them having to launch the UPN network immediately after Next Gen is off the air. It's just like, and then we cut to Harry Kim going to the Vomit Comet. And it's just like, what? Why are we this? We're 15 minutes in. They're already doing. Is this filler? Is this?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure if they were looking for a story. Maybe it took 4 years. Maybe they had to record this stuff after the fact.
Well, they were all masked up, so
to pad it up.
It had to be 2021 at the latest.
To me, it was an interesting idea, but it just seemed and it turned out to be fun. But
I think they used it too much.
Yeah, it's a little misguided.
Yeah, like if they maybe halved the amount of time they spent on that.
And then the other part that was a little bit like, why are we doing this? They're just driving around the back lot to the building where it used to be. Oh, that was the stage for Voyager.
You know what? That part,
Roddenberry's office. Oh, this is the New York backlot. You know, it's.
I'll disagree with you on that because I did enjoy that. That wasn't anything from like DVD bonus features or anything. And I'd always seen the front gates of Paramount, because that's what they show when they talk about Paramount, like the same stock shot pretty much. But I never really felt like I knew where things were or like where they were when they filmed it. Like, stage 9, and you see a picture of a building with a 9 on it or something. But it really gave me a sense of the home that these actors had for, I guess, 20 some years between all the series, probably more. So I really did enjoy that part, although I did hurt my brain because I still believe Voyager's real.
Yeah, but I feel like it was just like, if you're looking for filler, at least the Vomit Comet was maybe an interesting idea to help tie some of these elements together or pad some of this out that could at least bring something. To me, this was it Brian Fuller?
Yeah.
Brian Fuller, Garrett Wong, and was it Jerry? I don't think it was Jerry.
It was not Jerry Ryan because they were talking about Jerry
Taylor.
Jerry Taylor, yeah.
It was Jerry Taylor.
This is how long it took to make this. Jerry Taylor was alive when they
she's
filmed a lot of this.
Yeah, she's no longer with us. But
No.
But it was just the three of them, like driving around on a golf cart saying, remember when. That, to me, smacks of filler. So, I mean, at least there was some kind of production value in the Vomit Comet.
I think there was just maybe a lot didn't happen when they were filming the series. Maybe it just all went pretty smoothly. This was after Next Gen, after Deep Space Nine had been going for a while, right? So they knew what they were doing, and it was just like a factory. They were producing Star Trek episodes. And there was some jealousy. I was wondering if they were going to play the clip. I was doing live commentary with me and Rennie were talking about it as we were watching it that night. And I was like, oh, I hope they play the clip with Garrett Wong and Jerry Ryan from the thing where he starts crying because that means something, And they did.
Yeah, even I've seen that clip.
Yeah, but and when I first saw it when it happened, I got emotional a little bit because I had no idea that rivalry was there. I mean, it makes sense looking back because they were telling Kate, we don't trust you to be hot enough to get viewers.
Yeah, I'm not really
not
sure
hot
about
enough,
that.
but interesting enough.
Yeah, but so that gets into the whole Kess thing too with Jennifer Lean.
Yeah, and I wish they would have got her, but I understand why they didn't.
I mean, she's who knows if
she's had troubles. People have
troubles. Yeah. She's had troubles, and who knows? Maybe they approached her, and she was just like, "No."
I would think they would, right?
But this is where like a missed opportunity of the documentary. They talk about her character and what she brought to the show, but she was like the manic pixie dream girl. They gave her the haircut, they gave her, or the wig, which I know bumps
The
you.
bad wig. Yeah.
And-
Although, you know what's weird? Sorry to interrupt.
No.
The behind the scenes footage of her in the wig didn't look bad. It only looks bad on the show. I don't get it. I don't understand. Okay, keep going.
Maybe it looks good in stills, but not in motion.
Maybe.
Could that be it? I don't know. But so I think there was always an attempt to bring a younger, quote, more attractive, or I shouldn't even say more attractive, because
Can't be more attractive than Kes. Kes was gorgeous, yeah.
But I mean, but Kate was very attractive back then.
Yeah.
Too. And, you know,
But they were trying to get the 18 to 24-year-old
they were
boys,
trying
maybe.
to get like, they were trying to
She's
get
what,
like the
late
young
40s
boys,
back
the
then,
young
yeah.
boys, and Kes was the first stab at that. And I wish they would have gone into how that character and that actor maybe fell apart a little bit. I mean, because that's got to be a major thing. You've had someone on a show for 3 years who may be steadily declining, who may be, you know, facing different, that had to bring some interesting dynamics to the set that I wish they would have dove into. All respect to Jennifer Lean, but it's part of the history. It's part of like more of the thorny stuff that would have made this a little bit more interesting. And I don't even think it's in a, I'm going to say this word wrong, in a prurient way, prurient. But I mean, not just for the sake of expose, for the sake of muckraking.
That would have been that would be there, the whole trouble that Jennifer went through. But I understand like her castmates and no one really wanting to get into it.
But that's one of the failings of this documentary. It's the same thing with Genevieve. They're all speaking about her in the most glowing terms, yet she completely upended their entire world.
Yeah.
With whatever problems that she was having. They went so far, I think it was Jerry Taylor, saying that I brought her into my office to ask her, please tell me what you need, what's going on. And she couldn't even articulate what the issue was. And the character was gone shortly thereafter. So it's just like, that would have been, I think, so much more interesting. And it could have been a nice segue into the entire conflict between Jerry Ryan and Kate Mulgrew. That's something that I'd always heard about. I wanted to get a little bit of a deeper dive in it on this, but
they touched on it.
They touch on it, but in such a cursory way. And again, in the most glowing terms, with it really beginning and ending in about 5 minutes, and the end with Beltran saying, whatever happened on the set in those 4 years, yes, it was tense, but it's over now. We're all best friends. But wouldn't it have been very interesting to see, this is what happened with Kes, and here we have this thing where it's just this spectacular splash that Jerry Ryan makes. It's going to fix the show. It's going to bring new eyes. It's going to do that. Yet you have more conflict on set because of it. Maybe, did I like Chaos on the Bridge too much?
It seemed that there was some chaos, but chaos nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah. So if you're going to do like the definitive documentary on Voyager, why not really drill into this, get into the places that were maybe a little bit more comfortable? They're all saying was ancient history. But so, okay, maybe you don't want to dredge up ancient history, but then what's a documentary about?
Yeah, that happened in the past. It's a documentary.
Right. You know,
what I didn't know about, and you know, I try to know about Voyager, was Ronald D. Moore coming back and trying to work with Brandon Braga being the showrunner, and they were partners, so the dynamic was different, and it didn't work, it didn't click, and I had no idea about all that drama at all. Like I had no idea that Ronald D. Moore ever stepped foot with Voyager. Maybe I just missed it.
Oh, really? That's the one thing about Voyager I knew.
Interesting.
You know, because I was such a DS9 fan, and in the early days of the interwebs, I remember reading an interview that he did, but it was like Billboard stuff, you know. And I might have even said this on the show before, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but one of the most salient things that I feel more said about Voyager, and what I felt encapsulated, especially back then, how many years ago? 20 years ago, encapsulated everything that was wrong with Voyager. He said, if you're going to have a Borg on the ship, why not keep her as a scary Borg so that it's a visceral, everybody's uncomfortable, instead of turning her into a hot chick with just a little bit of tech on her face. And that was the approach. And I think that he even says, I came in with a little bit of hubris. I came in thinking that I was going to fix Voyager. And I slotted into a writer's room. People who'd been doing this for 6 years at this point, or 5 years. He came in really late, right at the end.
Yeah,
of
I want to say season 5, right? Was
yeah,
it 4 or
it's
5?
five or 6. I think
Jerry came on
it
at
was
4.
really late. It was
Yeah.
really late. So he went in with more of a DS9 mindset. Like, let's shake up the convention. Let's go to some darker places. Like, another thing that I remember reading that he wrote or that he said during an interview was just like, why not have, number one, the ship takes damage, yet it's always sparkling and new. Like, how do they repair it? Why not have the ship be patchwork after a while? Why not see a steady or maybe a slow decline in Starfleet regulations? Have people walking around in some civilian clothes, maybe barefoot, maybe just make it so that this ship is evolving beyond the Starfleet protocol that it started with, to show the journey, to show the evolution, to show that these people are being affected by this voyage, instead of every episode just being start new.
Yeah,
So,
it could have been the Equinox. It really could have been.
what is the Equinox?
That's
For those that
basically
don't know.
another ship that got sucked into through the Badlands to the Caretaker, and they're trying to head back home, but they were Battlestar Galactic in it. Is that a verb?
Yeah, galactic.
They were doing that all the way home. They were trying anything they could do to get home, and everything was falling apart around them. So maybe he had some influence on that. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go read up on it. But the one thing about that gave me chills was when Brennan Braga said maybe me and him should have ran it together, and I just got chills. I was like, oh, that would have been so good.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been, but they, at least that was the part where the documentary gets real, because they're two old friends who have since, I guess, reconciled.
Yeah.
Talking about how they were both too stubborn and too proud to admit to one another that, no, I have the better idea. They just could not give up the you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Why can't I articulate? I used to be able to articulate ideas, Albie. Do you remember when I used to be able to do that?
Yeah. It happens.
Ego. That's the word I was looking for.
Ego.
Neither of them could let go of their egos.
I love that they both took responsibility for their part in that whole thing.
And that Brannon said, it's 100% my fault because I was running the show. So it's like, that's the Star Trek ethos. I'm Captain Bones. That makes it my fault.
Yeah.
So I think that that was where it got as real as it was going to get in this. And
yet it was still nicely, because they're friends now.
And they're friends now. And the thing is, they're both, Ron D. Moore is not hurting for anything.
No.
Brandon Braga is not hurting for anything. They're both still working, and they're the ones who have the least to lose by letting it all hang out there. Whereas you feel like these are all actors talking about other actors and producers and showrunners.
Yeah, you don't want to burn bridges when you need
Right.
a different job every few weeks.
Exactly. It's like you're Roxanne Dawson. You've directed 1 million episodes of TV, but you know what? You still have a million more to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think that was the problems that I had with it, but I didn't have fun moments with it, like the Tuvok storyline. I wish they would have got Eugene Cordero, because that's probably one of my favorite lines in all of Star Trek. Yo, Janeway straight up murdered that dude.
You're talking about the Tuvix.
Tuvix. What did I say?
Yeah. You said Tuvok.
Tuvix.
Yeah, I mean, they talked about Tim as Tuvok.
Yeah, that was okay. I like him.
Yeah, I mean,
he was good in iCarly.
They gave you a little snapshot of each character. They spent a lot of time with Ethan, and talking about the Neelix character, and it was fun to see him and Robert Picardo doing like a joint interview together, playing
their shtick.
Yeah, their shtick was fun. Again, at the same time, it's just like, aside from this light banter, what did we learn about Neelix besides that the makeup was kind of rough on him?
It was
know?
very. It was like everybody said, "Yeah, sure. Well, I'll give you an hour," and they just talked about the normal stuff that they talk about in every other interview.
Well, and there's nothing groundbreaking here. And another thing
Mhm.
that kind of bumped me a little bit, it started in the very beginning. They have Nana talking about being a female on Star Trek, and I get it maybe because it dovetails into the Janeway stuff, but being the
Mhm.
commander, it was the set from What We Leave Behind.
Mhm.
So I'm like, did they just take extra snippets from the What We Leave Behind documentary and just, shove them in here? Because then later in the thing, they have Andy Robinson.
Yeah.
He's not even in Voyager in any
Nope.
capacity. He didn't even do a guest shot. So
Nope.
it's like, why is Garrick talking about Voyager?
I'll still pop for it though. They had Terry Metalis.
Yep.
They had so many people that because I don't think he was involved in Voyager, was he? He was a production assistant on Enterprise.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just got he's a name, and
Yeah,
he
and
was,
he ended Next Gen properly for me, so I like that.
yes. He's your man.
Um,
He's your man for that. I know.
Yeah, got to give him everything for that. So we could have had a Voyager that turned into like a watered down Battlestar Galactica, but instead we got Battlestar Galactica. So it's good that it didn't go that way because then we wouldn't have Battlestar. But Ronald D. Moore said, "You know what? I'm going to do it anyway, I guess." And he just picked a different franchise, right?
Yeah, and that's what Brandon said. He said, and I'm the one who lost because Ron took all his great ideas and made Battlestar.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So,
who really lost out here?
so I guess we got the best of both worlds, part 1 and 2.
But it's funny when you say Equinox. I was thinking about it because I just did a Battlestar rewatch a few months back, and
Yeah.
it's like when the Pegasus came on
Yeah.
in the beginning of season
Michelle
2 or
Forbes,
season
was
3.
it?
Michelle Forbes, yeah, and Ensign Rowe is there
Mhm.
being badass captain. It's like that's Ron saying, "Hey, you know what? This is what it should have been."
Yeah. Have you seen Equinox 1 and 2 Voyager?
If I have, I don't recall.
Oh, you probably remember.
Yeah, well, maybe I saw bits and pieces. Again, I did not watch
Yeah.
Voyager. I mean, it took me forever just to get into DS9. I didn't even start DS9 until season 3.
Yeah.
So-
The Equinox and Voyager had different tech. The Equinox didn't have a reset button.
Voyager even had Year of Hell was one giant reset button.
Yeah. But every episode they hit the reset button at the end and they were fully restocked with torpedoes and shuttlecraft and the hull was perfect again, but Equinox did not have that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a good two-parter to maybe we'll hit that one of these days.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Eventually, we'll get there.
We'll get
there. Yeah, we should talk about the way we're going to do the show going forward. We always think about different ways of doing it, but let's finish talking about this first.
We'll finish talking about this.
Yeah, let's talking about this. I really liked the fact that they gave some cred after they were done having all the actors doing reach arounds to talk about some of the VFX. I wish they would have done more of that. They talked about Michael Westmore's makeup in this, saying that he was happy because it was a completely blank canvas. So he didn't have to keep reinventing the same 7 aliens over and over again. He could just do whatever he wanted. He had a lot of latitude here. For all that, I think Voyager has some of the most god-awful alien designs.
I was just going to say that makes me think there was not one Kazon in this documentary. I don't think.
They did show a still picture of the Kazons. Yeah.
Oh, maybe
yeah.
I just block it out.
I guess.
Get this, Klingons, but they're orange and have bad hair.
It was actually a still of the Kazons and Aaron. Was
cool,
right there, front and center.
Love Aaron.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's like another thing. I should we keep comparing this to What We Leave Behind?
It's hard not to.
It's hard not to, but I mean, they had that whole thing where they're talking about, and Aaron's just there crying, saying this was the greatest thing. It really, and then he's so sincere, and then they tell him that in the season 8 writers' room, the first thing they do is kill Nog, and he just starts cursing them all out, like what?
Because I think it was still real to him too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And so I'm looking for real moments like that. Looking for I wonder if they tried to build it around Garrett because he is the most emotionally
he's kind of like the heart of the show.
Yeah, he wears it on his sleeve, Yeah. All the others are, I guess they've moved on to some extent, but he still seems to eat and sleep and breathe everything
Voyager.
that happened 30 years ago. On
Yeah,
the show.
even Robert Doug McNeil that does the Delta Flyers with him. Seemed like he was dragged into it by Garrett, and it was like Garrett's the driving force behind that. But Robbie's fine to do it.
Yeah, and I was also surprised, a nice surprise, I guess. I was waiting for Beltran to be a total ass. But he was a lot more circumspect than I thought he would be in this. If there was going to be someone that would take off the gloves, I thought it would be him. And they even managed to corral him somewhat.
Well, you fix it in post, or the story's made in the edit, so who knows what's on the cutting room floor in that hard drive somewhere.
Yeah, But you think they would? Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
They had 4 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think they would have left that out if they had it? Seeing this, yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It's the one thing I think that disappoints me more, than anything, because the thing that Star Trek is more than a great science fiction show and something that we all love to love is that whole lightning in a bottle cast family feel. And like it was more than a job to them. And it really felt like Voyager was just another job to them. That's what I got out of the documentary, which is disappointing to me.
Wow. See, I got the complete opposite.
See,
I feel like we've been going for a while here.
Yeah.
So if you want to start like maybe doing some final thoughts.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
One of the key benefits of watching this, even though I feel more of an affinity for the characters because of the sincerity of the actors and their reminiscences. And I was just complaining about it was too much of a love fest. But the upside of that was that now when I watch Voyager, I will think of these people, not just these characters who I had nothing but disdain for when Voyager was on the air. So that's another thing that it's like it gets me over the hurdle to try to accept Voyager on its own terms.
So is this opening a doorway to where you're going to let Voyager into your heart, maybe?
I mean, as Spock was fond of saying, there are always
possibilities. Yes.
I mean, is there an upshot for you here? Is there a silver lining?
My name's in the credits and Serenity's name's in the credits.
I saw that.
So that's pretty cool. We got cool refrigerator magnets. We'll have cool Blu-rays. I enjoyed watching it with Rennie because a lot of the stuff that they were talking about, Serenity didn't know. And she was very concerned about being spoiled because, we're working our way. We're like savoring Voyager.
So she doesn't know how it ends?
No. And she's been like very la, right? So we Googled, does this spoil the end of Voyager? And it said no. But I had my hand on the pause button.
Yeah,
right?
there are no real details.
It said spoilers here. Okay. It said they made it home. Okay, that's the big spoiler, I guess, right?
If you've seen Prodigy, they made it home.
Yeah, and Rennie's seen that, but I think what happened was one time she got the book, the one with was it Michael Sullivan, Janeway's holodeck lover from Fairhaven.
Oh yeah, sure, Michael Sullivan.
Okay, she got that book, and in that book they made it home, and she's asked about it, and I said, well, there's multiple timelines in the finale, so nothing's in stone until you watch it. Nothing's canon until you watch that episode, so you don't know.
There you go.
So maybe she bought it. Maybe she bought it.
It's Schrodinger's finale.
Exactly. It is Schrodinger's finale in a lot of ways. But I had my finger on the pause button. And as soon as that shot happened where Neelix is carrying the duffel bag and walking down the hall, I was like, pause. Because I'm not going to ruin that moment for her, the Neelix leaving moment. So
it's funny. That choked me up a little bit. And I don't
even like Neelix. I got choked up instantly.
Like I can't stand Neelix. But
I love Neelix, so.
Hey, I have to say it was nice to see Armin in this as well. They had a little bit of Armin when they were having the battling makeup. I
just thought that would be funny if they just had all the Deep Space Nine people, the whole documentary talking about Voyager.
Would have been more interesting for me. I'll tell you that.
I don't know. Could it live up to the wait, the 4 years, the investment, the constantly every day thinking about when the hell is this documentary going to come out? This is going to be so good. They've been working on it for so long, and it's the most crowdfunded documentary of all time. So
yeah, you had a lot more.
And it was okay.
Going in.
It was okay.
Right,
was it $300 okay? $350 okay? I don't even know where I'm at. Was it that okay? I don't know.
I think that size says it all.
I'm glad they made it, though. I'm glad they made it. And I'm glad they didn't manufacture anything. But there's other things they could have talked about. I mean, Jerry Ryan has a Borg alcove in her kitchen.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That wasn't touched on that. Wouldn't that be cool?
I thought it would have been much cooler to spend more time with how they did the VFX because it was the last of the model before everything went to CGI. Did they have a transition into full CGI? I don't know. I mean, that would have been kind of a neat thing. They talked about it for about a minute and a half in a very cursory manner.
With Ronald B. Moore. Did they have the Akutas on there? I think they did.
Oh, yeah, the Akutas came in and out. Yep. They had the
Akutas. I was like, Rennie, that's the lady who likes your pictures.
Well, there you go. So,
yeah, so that's something.
The Akutas are now like royalty. Even Larry Nemeczek was in it.
Yeah, and I was like, I spent the night with that dude. Well, not that way. I was standing around the table that everybody was buying him drinks all night in Vegas. But I was like 3 feet from him for like 3-4 hours. So that was cool. But he made it in the thing. I don't know. I have to say my initial reaction is disappointment, but I'm glad that they made it. I'm going to watch it a couple more times. And maybe now that I know it's not what they leave behind, they left behind. What is it?
What we left behind.
What we left behind. Now that I know it's not that, I'm going to try to view it for what it is.
It's always a good way to go.
Yeah, but I'd say it's a definite buy. If I'm going to give a final rating, I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay. And I'll give it a solid 3 out of 5. I think it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. It contractually fulfilled their obligation to what was crowdfunded.
Wow. And with
I just wanted more. I wanted more. I wanted to get to know. I wanted to feel like I was there. I just felt like this was like Entertainment Tonight interview.
That's it. Yeah, it never went beyond a chat show sensibility.
Yeah, there was no real there, and there could have been. I mean, with the whole Jennifer thing, I don't know. Other things with the, they could have had Jerry and Kate in a room together talking about what happened.
I wish that they would have done that. Instead, it was just all these oneers talking very generally about it, and really nobody going that extra distance to explore some of these more interesting facets. But I'm repeating myself.
Yeah. So you gave it a 3. I gave it a 4 out of 5, and yeah. So. Blu-rays will come. You'll get yours in the mail shortly thereafter. I don't even think you have a Blu-ray player.
No, I don't.
But Rennie's got a Blu-ray coming, and I got a Blu-ray coming, and
pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
Hopefully, there's more on there. Because wouldn't that be cool if there was the 4-hour version or something? I don't know.
I don't think that there's more on there.
No. So.
But
for you. I know you mentioned earlier, and I found out today that they're talking to Fathom Events to get it screened in theaters.
It's kind of a day late and a dollar short, but okay.
Well, this is a screener for backers. So the general audience don't get this. It's just because we paid for it.
Oh, I see. So maybe they will have it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 3 backers.
Understood. Yeah, I saw your name and Rennie's name on there. So I was like, go Albie. Woo!
Woo! Yeah.
So I understand that we have a sponsor for tonight's
we
show.
Do.
Albie, will you tell us who tonight's sponsor is?
Our sponsor is a podcast, video, audio, YouTube editing company. It's called reductivearts.com.
Reductivearts.com.
So, the fun part of podcasting is sitting here and talking with your friends. The part that drains the life out of you is everything that happens afterwards. Yeah, it's fun to talk to your friends for an hour, but then what about the next 22 hours when you're sitting in front of a computer and want to pull your hair out and just throw and kick your computer? That's where Reductive Arts comes in. You just record the files. You don't even have to send them to them anymore. Like with Riverside and these places, send them the link. They get the link. They get the files. They send you back the full edited, whether it's a video podcast, audio podcast, YouTube videos like people do now with the stuff.
Yeah, we
So,
we
reductivearts.com, and we have a promo code, I think.
Oh, what's our promo code
It's
for reductivearts.com?
Treksploration 5, and that will get you 5% off of your startup package.
Wow, Treksploration 5.
Treksploration 5, yeah. And if you sign up through that, then we get a little kickback too. So
not Babylon 5.
No, Treksploration 5,
Treksploration
because it's
5.
5% off for the initial setup package. So that'll save you some bucks. But if you're
Not
looking
the Jackson 5.
no, that's troublesome nowadays, I think.
Treksploration 5.
Treksploration
We're just trying to think
5.
of titles with 5 in them.
So reductivearts.com, at first it was like Reductive Arts, and I was like, oh, it's like sculpting, so you take something that has extra stuff and you take away things, and that makes it, the Venus, I think.
The Venus de Milo
logo. Yeah, the Venus de Milo.
Or David.
But you don't cut out too much because then you lose the arms, right?
Maybe that's intentional.
Did they make it without the arms, or did they
No, I think
chop
the
them
arms
off
fell
later?
off over time.
Yeah, like it fell down twice while moving it, and they were like,
he always meant this. I saw the Venus de Milo in the Louvre, and
did you?
Yeah, I did.
How tall was she? Was she shorter than you would think?
No, she was much taller because she's on a plinth. She's on a plinth, sir.
Man, another word I got to look up. Okay,
Yes.
plinth.
I saw the Mona Lisa there too.
You go to these places without me. Yeah, I know you're married, got a wonderful wife, but I mean, come on.
I think it was years ago.
I want to see the Mona Lisa and the Venus de Milo, right?
So go to the Louvre. They're all there. They're there waiting for you, man.
All right, I'll write that down too. But yeah, that's the Treksploration 5 is the discount code. And for a limited time, you get 5% off if you sign up at reductivearts.com. So if you ever wanted to be a podcaster, but have no idea what you're doing, they'll help you with everything.
And even if you are a podcaster and you're just strapped for time, when we were doing the Quantum Leap podcast, I hired Reductive Arts to do some episodes for me because I just couldn't keep up.
Yep.
So and
they get it done.
It's worth it. Even if you are an accomplished podcaster with a long track record, you can always use that extra help editing. Let me tell you. And I don't even know where to begin with the video. I mean, thank God. Yeah.
That's more difficult. You can get away with a lot with sound where you can't with video.
Yeah.
So reductivearts.com, and it's a company of nerds for nerds. So they're cool people. Check them out. Treksploration 5.
Treksploration 5.
Yep. For a limited time only. Okay, so we're going to talk about what we're doing next. I think we did promise past prologue, right?
Yeah, I think we promised press prologue. Let me do the spiel. Hey,
okay, do the spiel.
We want to know what you think about, if you've seen it, it's not what we left, to the journey.
That was left behind.
Yes, we want to know what you think about To the Journey That Was Left Behind. And you can tell us right here on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/@Treksploration. You can also tell us on our Patreon site. We have a community over there. That's patreon.com/Treksploration. You can hit us up on Instagram at Treksploration Pod. You can blue sky us at Treksploration.bisky.social. You can get us on TikTok. I still haven't seen us on TikTok at Treksploration.
We dance. We go like this.
Email us at TreksplorationPod@gmail.com. That's TreksplorationPod@gmail.com.
That's us.
And you can buy us a coffee. That's buymeacoffee.com/Treksploration. Willard did. You can
the
be like
omnipotent
Willard. You can be like him and support us there, or you can support us on that aforementioned Patreon site, patreon.com/Treksploration. You'll find all the levels of membership there and what might or might not come with them. I'm not even sure at this point. You can also get us by snail mail, like if you want to send like a Blu-ray set or like a VHS series, whatever. P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York 11705. That's P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York 11705. Thank you to all of you who have left comments, who have sent things, who have supported the show. And thanks to everybody who's watching and spreading the word about Treksploration. Just remember, any comments that you give us will be used most likely on an upcoming episode of Treksploration. And this is the segue we were looking for. Okay. Speaking of upcoming episodes, Albie, what's coming up next?
We promised past prologue. We're going to do that, I think. But I'm watching the YouTube channel, and this is what we're doing. We're trying to get as many people on our crew as possible because we got enough view hours We got enough videos. All we need is enough subscriptions to be monetized.
Oh,
And the more we're monetized, the more we can do this and the more content we can crank out.
yeah. I
So,
know about you, but I have money.
Yeah. It's a lot of work
around here.
and we lose money on it, but it's okay. But the patrons we do have, we really appreciate because they're keeping us through. We know we're not talking just to the ether. There are people that actually watch the show. Speaking of, I need to congratulate one of all on his happiness.
Congratulations, one of all.
Congratulations, one
and
of
may
all.
you
I'm
find
happy
continued happiness.
Yes. So I'm very happy for him. Serenity wanted me to convey thanks to Listen Linda. She finally opened the package.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and there was a lovely card in it. It'll go up back there. A lovely card.
Oh, Linda's good at lovely cards.
She is the best. And I don't know if Rennie wants me to read the message, but it was a lovely message. This will go up in the background. And there was a gorgeous Star Trek The Next Generation comm badge necklace inside. That was the gift. She was so touched. So she wants to watch it in her next video she did. She just did a video in the space station. But we opened it up too late for that. But we're just doing stuff in here, and we saw it. I was like, "Oh, we haven't opened it yet." She's like, "Oh no!" So then we opened it. So she loves it. She loves it. So look for that in episode 2 of her space science thing that she's doing on her YouTube channel, Serenity Burge on YouTube. Thank you, Listen Linda,
for making that clear.
So, and the reason I'm saying all this stuff is because I think I know we're getting like
no, that's not even that. It was just like, thank goodness you got back on track. I was going to have to prompt you.
Yeah, this is what we do. We skew into tangents. We're on a chalkboard, and right. Jordan McFly died. We're thinking of just doing cool stuff. Like, hey, the other day I was like, Mother's Day. Oh, we should do Dark Page, or was it Dark Page? I don't know what it's called. The one that Swana Troy has some trouble. And it has to do with her Deanna's sister. But we should just do different episodes that we think are cool and people would be interested in, and maybe just skip around, because it seems to me that we have a lot of episodes to get through before we get to great fun things to do that might get more members on our crew to get us monetized to be able to do more shows. So it's like the chicken and the egg.
I'll follow your lead. I mean, for me, like, consistency was always key, but the fact that we're breaking up the next gen basis, that was always the conceit of this, is we're going to review next gen and then sprinkle the other series in because you like next gen the best, and it's probably the most popular of the series, so it just seemed to make sense. That being said, I've been, struggling to even watch the episodes that I need to to do the show. It's not struggling, it's just that when I should be watching Next Gen or Past Prologue, I've just finished season 1 of Enterprise, because I just am so into Enterprise. And it strikes me, I like the way that we're doing this, but it also kind of zaps some of the momentum that you get from doing just one show and growing with it. So if we're not going to, but we were sort of doing that with Next Gen. It's just a mixed bag, man. So are we just going to mix it further?
This is what I noticed. When we stay on our track that we planned, we get about a couple hundred views. If we do something out of the ordinary, 500, 600, 800 views. If we do something with Jerry Ryan in it, 12,000 views.
Well, I mean, that's, because we're so good at talking about Jerry Ryan.
Neither one of us are Jerry Ryan. Maybe the Jerry Ryan podcast. Like, if we do 50 episodes of the Jerry Ryan podcast, we might have her on. And
I look at it this way. I don't really care how we do it, because as long as we're talking Star Trek, I'm having fun.
Right?
And if that helps the algorithm, I don't know. It seems like this might be too behind the scenes-y stuff.
Might be inside baseball.
Like we're like cash grabbing here or whatever. But I feel like as long as we're sincere in the way we approach it, again, you're the executive producer. You just tell me what you want to talk about.
We do have Strange New Worlds coming up. It starts July 17th. So we'll be here every week for that.
Yes, 100%. So no matter what we do in July, it's all being put on.
You have an anniversary again in July 17th? An anniversary opera?
No, there is no opera in the summer.
Ah, okay.
Not New York anyway.
Okay. So,
and I will be home July 17th.
All right. So, and it drops late Wednesday night, the earliest it could Thursday morning, and we record Thursday nights usually. So I think we're right on track to do Strange New Worlds.
So yeah, we'll be doing that regardless. And yeah, just keep watching this space. We're probably going to mix it up a little bit. We're probably going to pick some favorites. If you have any ideas of favorites that you'd like,
let us
to
know.
cover, again, down below, comments.
And everyone who's subscribed, create another YouTube channel and subscribe again, please, and then we'll get there.
Wow, now that's a naked cash grab. I love it. Always be closing.
Always be closing. So for I think that about wraps it up. My last thoughts on To the Journey, looking back at Star Trek Voyager, is it's worth the buy. Pick up the Blu-ray. I think you can pre-order it now on their website, voyagerdocumentary.com. I think those are getting sent out with the rest of them with the backers copies and stuff like that. It's worth watching. It's worth having on the shelf. It's a good supplement to the series. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. Rennie enjoyed it. It has things, but it's worth the buy. Give them your money. Maybe they'll make one for Enterprise.
Maybe they will. That's what I'm looking forward to next.
So then your name will be in the credits of Enterprise one. Right?
I would hope so. Okay. And I would
say, we can get him Scotty Bax, right?
Maybe Scotty Bax. I mean, we do have the link, the direct line to.
Did you see Brian Green got Scott?
No.
Yeah, Brian Green just shared. Scott Bakula did a message for the 25th anniversary for Al's Place.
I saw the video that he did with the amalgam of, it's like the montage of all of us telling him, but there's
the newest one. I guess it got sent in late or something.
Oh, how nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, cool. You got Scott.
Ooh, I'm going to have to go look at that. So
yeah, it's really nice.
So
every time I asked for something, he was like, "Nope." I got the phone call. That was amazing. Hey, listen, that's once in a lifetime.
You got the first interview on a podcast, I think. So.
Yeah, I think so. But he got a video message. So hey, I got an hour with him. That's a 2-minute video message. But both are good. So congratulations, Brian.
And
right.
So
and that's everything. Would you buy it?
To the Journey.
If you weren't getting it in the mail for free.
Probably not, but I would watch it. I would rent it. I would rent it because number one, I don't usually buy physical media. So that's
you gonna go to the local theater to wear your NX-01 hat to get recognized?
I might, yes.
Okay.
But I will say this. I'll say this. For someone who's barely a casual Voyager fan like me, you'll find stuff in this that maybe you didn't know about that you will enjoy. For someone that lives in Voyager and whose heart is there like Albie, at the very least, this documentary will help reaffirm and stoke those feelings of love and joy that you have for this franchise, for this series in the franchise. So it's a win-win either way. Mm-hmm. Could it have been better? Sure, but everything could have been better. We could have been better tonight. Well, maybe not. But
not so good. I give us about a 2, maybe 2.5 out of 5. So
who are we?
Exactly. So if you want more on that, you go to Ryan T. Huss's channel on YouTube. What is it? It is like Virtual TrekCon, I think, is the main one where they do Star Trek like watch party, Star Trek and Chill. So just type in Star Trek and Chill on YouTube. They do like a live thing every I want to say Friday night. So check that out. And they've been talking a lot about it because Ryan T. Husk is one of the guys in the producers or something makers.
Gotcha.
Guy, I met him in Vegas. But I think that's it. That's all we got on it. Watch it. Tell us what you think about it. Comment down below. And for Treksploration, I'm Albie.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next time.
To the voyage. I'm sorry, to the journey.
To the journey we left behind.
Watch it all night, we're ready for a ride. Check it to the car, side by side. Feel the rhythm as we move to the beat. And we're World Podcast with DSB. Waves flowing, we set the stage. Listen, how we do rhythms from every age. Captain Charles, get ready to the cosmic tide. Get our militant look. Time to ride. Let's ride away. Can't miss our space. It's the love series. Working all night. As the stars lie. Drinking tail pies.
Hello, everyone. Chris here. You might have been wondering throughout this entire video, what the heck happened to my face? Let me tell you. I went a whole lifetime being out in the sun without sunscreen. As a result, I have a skin condition called actinic keratosis, and I've been putting a cream on to cure the actinic keratosis, and it's blown up my forehead like this. This is actually nice. You should see what it looked like about 5 days ago. Anyway, my message to you, this is one to grow on. Wear your sunscreen, kids. Peace out.
As our lives change, we remember we will be friends forever. I don't know how that song goes.
Don't let this happen to you.